But I haven't thought about anyone else pulling it but me.
Hmm.
And if someone should, then shit.
Hey guys, welcome to Talking Strongman. As you can see, I am joined by the 505 lifter. He's kind of said it already, so it's going to happen. Mr. Graham Hicks, a man that is absolutely focused on this 505 later this year in Vegas. Tickets are still available. There is a link in the description below if you want to see Hicksy smash that record. So we were chatting this weekend, and I was like, are you going to kind of build up to something and then back off? And you were like, I'm still backing off at the moment. Everything's easy.
Yeah, it's a bit of a unique spot I'm in. I mean, I haven't been injured for a very long time. I've had a pretty solid run with diet, with training, even with everything going on in my life. The structure of my 3 days a week has stayed pretty stable. And I just feel like when I go in the gym, if I wanted to, I could hit a PB on anything, any time of the week. It's crazy to think, like, you know, I'm 39 this year. I've been around 14 years. To be in that position is unique, and there's not really a blueprint for it, because most of us want, you know, we'll happily take a 2.5 kilo PB, whereas I'm slamming 10 kilos on, and they're still easy. But no, like I'm not really backing off or backed off, because I'm kind of trading around the like RPE 7 or 8 mark, and I feel like it's working.
Yeah.
You know, I've got I'm gonna do 430 next week, and I've told myself do 2 reps. If it's really easy, then I'll do 3, but I'll no more than 3.
Okay.
No matter how easy it is.
I think that's smart as well. You don't, like, everything you've done so far, you've made look easy, and I think that's important.
Yeah. With the strength game, it's important. It's important, and I've said it for years. Not emptying the tank, always leaving the gym like you could feel like you do a little bit more. It's not the same as bodybuilding, CrossFit. You know, they've got to push themselves in a different manner.
Yeah.
When you're lifting big weights, you've got to push yourself, but you need to know to hold back as well. You know, and like I just feel like because I've got the deadlift, it's made me hold back. And if I didn't have it, I'd probably be chucking some wild numbers around. I probably would be injured by now. But you know, it's keeping me accountable, and my training's been very, very smart. And I've seen so many comments about people saying, "Oh, he's doing too much, or he's going to peak too soon." I've not peaked yet.
Well, this is why I wanted to chat to you, because I you know, as your mate, sometimes you have peaked too soon. We've seen competitions where 3 weeks out you're record level, and then it comes to the competition, and sometimes maybe you've kind of burnt out. But everything that you've done at this point so far looks well within you, and I think that's, you know, that's probably the big difference right now. I know you've made some changes, there's lifestyle changes, etc. You're only training 3 days a week, did you say?
Yeah, so the minute it's just 3 days, because of childcare, work, we won't get into it, but obviously I'll nip it in the bud. Obviously, me and Kim aren't together anymore since November. I'm going through a divorce. I've had to move into a different house. We've moved gym. I'm back at engineering at BAE. So every aspect of my life, 7 days a week, from the moment I get up to the moment I go to bed, is completely different to last year.
Yeah.
So I haven't got the scope to train 4 days yet. So again, it's working hand in hand with the deadlift, because 3 days a week's ideal. The only day I'm missing is an event day, which I'll get around to when things get a little calmer this side.
Yeah, I think probably if I was you, I'd leave the events out until after the deadlift, mate.
Yeah, well, I did a sneaky log session the other week, and I did like a 180 log, and it was easy, visually very, very easy. But I got all the next day, and I said to myself, I'm not doing any more events until after this deadlift, because my back was fucked.
Well, that you know, events are very taxing in a completely different way, and I think while you're focused on the deadlift, it makes sense to, you know, put 100% into that.
Yeah, and I mean, everything seems to be slotting into place a bit for me. I mean, like I finally put a bit of weight on, and with that, I feel a bit more powerful. I'm sat about 147, which is still quite light for me, but I feel very good. You know, like I've been sat
because your weight went lower than that at one point, didn't it?
137.
So you put 10 kilos back on, and again, I mean, not to sound a bit dodgy, but we saw you on the weekend. You were solid as hell, mate. You know.
Yeah, I'm in really good shape. Yeah.
I don't think people realize how much muscle you hold.
I don't think I realized until this year. Yeah.
Have you got a body weight in mind that you're looking at coming in at, or you're not fussed?
No. I just wanted to make sure I put a bit on, which I have. And I'm already the strongest I've probably ever been. So, you know, like, to weigh that up, because what I've kind of been trying to do is follow a little bit of last year's plan. So last year I did 430 for 3, 6 weeks out. So if I do 430 for 3 next week, it's 11 weeks out. You know, and for me, if it's easier, it just gives me a little bit more time between now and then to back off, have a deload, maybe 2 or 3 deloads, and then just slam in a few heavier ones. But my weight-wise, like weight last year was like 155, probably heavier.
Yeah.
I'm not too concerned about my weight. I just wanted A, the suit to fit right, and B, just to be healthy and feel strong. You know, and my health markers at the minute, probably the best they've ever been. Done a lot of cardio this year. I've backed off the cardio now just to try and help the weight go up. But no, like it's just been really plain sailing at the minute. I'm enjoying training. Even if I didn't have the deadlift, I'd probably still be training very similar and probably lifting similar weights, really.
It's nice to be in a position where you're enjoying it, because we all go through those stages of you lose that love a little bit at times. And I mean, myself, like, I'm nowhere near as strong as you, but I've set myself this target of I want to stay within 100 kilos of Hicksy. I deadlifted 330 this week, so you've got to do 430.
Oh, pressure's on now.
I've got 2 goals: try and stay within 100 kilos of you, and stay stronger than the women. That's all I need to do. But both of those are hard targets.
Well, these women are special now.
You came to
I really enjoyed the women's show, actually.
Yeah, it was a good show, wasn't
it? Really enjoyed it.
What do you think of the up-and-coming English lads? Because there was some good talent in that contest.
That is it. Ben Glasscock and Paddy Haynes really impressed me.
Yeah,
I like them 2 guys. I think if they could put a bit more weight on, stay as fast, they've got a good future. Yeah, I think so.
I was quite impressed with the improvement that Ben had made since last year.
Yeah, massively.
I've been impressed with Paddy for a number of years now, and he's starting to put some real good performances together.
When he did the cannonball hold and he was walking around with it, I turned around to Marcus. I said, he's messed that up.
Yeah.
And then he won.
First, like 10, 15 seconds, he was all over the place. He managed to compose himself. And
just think if he'd have got hold of it properly, he'd have probably done 2 minutes.
Yeah. What about the women? Obviously, the standard in the UK is very high on the women's side. But did you watch? Did you stay for the women's show or not? You had to leave.
I stayed until the Stones.
Okay. Yeah.
Obviously, I coached Laura Baxter. She's come on well.
She's improved loads. I was super impressed because she's got a lot stronger. She was always athletic, but
she was always going to under 82, so her static strength was always going to be lower. But she just said to me at weekend she wants to try and lose weight again because she's not happy. I said, I think you should stay at this weight, just do a bit more cardio, you know, because the only thing that's going to happen is the same thing. She'll lose weight. She'll come in for the next show, put weight on, and she'll feel shit again. So it's better to be bigger, get conditioned at that weight, and hopefully, you know, usually the strength will come with it. It doesn't come right away.
Sometimes it's about sort of body composition changes rather than just up and going higher or low with body weight.
I mean, it spoke volumes to me because she still won the loading. So I don't think she needs to lose any weight. She's still within the loading, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Right, I'm going to bring this back to you because this is, you know, as much as these are amazing athletes and it's good to see these up and comers, you've put the years in and this is your time.
Yeah.
505.
Good shifting, isn't it?
Would this be the biggest achievement for you? It's like, you've won some great titles, you've done some amazing lifts before, but is this kind of the pinnacle for you at the moment? Is there any other goals after the 505?
It's the biggest goal. It has to be the biggest goal. After this, I want to just go back to Strongman and get back into Strongman. My plan will be to do Britain's Strongest Man in January or February, whenever it is.
Yeah.
But not 505 is enormous. I think it's the pinnacle goal for any of us, really. And for me, I always find it more impressive because I'm smaller. I'm not 200 kilo man who has to duck under, door frames, and I just think sometimes it's always nicer to see a smaller man be just as powerful. And I've known Thor for 7 or 8 years. We've trained together a few times, and weirdly, I've never felt weak in his presence. I've always felt like I'm strong enough to be training with him. And I felt like with most guys who I train with, I don't ever feel like I'm weaker than anybody. It's just I've had a very tough life and a lot of bad luck.
Mate, I've said this many times. You're the strongest man I've ever trained with. And I've trained with Eddie, I've trained with Thor, I've trained with Zadrunas, some of the strongest men on the planet. In the gym, you can hold your own on any lift with anyone. There's no, we all have strengths. Every top level strongman does, but you don't have a weakness. So not in the gym, your gym strength is just phenomenal. And yeah, I don't think you're ever going to go into a gym and feel weak, buddy.
No.
Right. We've had a lot of questions from members, so I'm going to shoot these at you because otherwise I'll probably go over them myself.
Right.
So thank you to the members that asked these questions. If there's any that you kind of think that's a stupid question, we'll move on.
All right, mate. Yeah, I'll get my little white flag out.
So Joe WT6EH, he says, do you worry about the medical impact of chasing 505? Obviously, it's a huge weight. The risks that come with kind of chasing these huge numbers. Do you ever worry about anything like that?
Do you know what? I don't. I still see 505 as I would approach the first time I pull 400. It's something that you train your body for, you train your mind for it. I don't think there is any, for me personally.
Do you think some people get a bit lost on sort of the amount of time and effort you've put into getting to this level? I think sometimes people get a bit deluded of, oh yeah, that guy can just do that. They just need to kind of, do something crazy for a year and they're going to hit 505. It just doesn't work like that. It's years and years and years of building up that strength over a long period of time. You're not a 350 kilo deadlifter saying, oh yeah, next year I'm going to pull 505. You won the deadlift world championships last year. What did you pull? 476?
47. Yeah. And the thing was, the year before I pulled the 1,000 pound. And that was the first time I was going for a max deadlift, and it was comfy, but it was 453. And then last year I pulled 470. I think easier. It was definitely easier.
Yeah.
What my limit was that day, it's really hard to say. If you said 485, 490, I think I had a good chance.
Yes.
And obviously I did have the tear. But what a lot of people don't realise is that when I tore my hamstring, it wasn't programming, it wasn't hydration, it wasn't overtraining. It just slipped. Yeah, I mean, I used to wear them toe shoes, didn't I?
Mm.
And they had some holes in the side. So I just wore these. I'm not throwing them under the bus here, but I wore silverback socks with grips on the bottom. And all that happened was when I locked 440 out, obviously because we're talking in the floor, aren't we? You talk with your feet. And as I was twisting at lockout, my foot slipped.
Mm.
And I just felt a really slight twinge. You can't even see it on the video. I'm very unfazed by it.
You can see the foot move. I remember you sending it to me.
Yeah, you can. You can see it move. It almost was like a little funny dance, actually. But I just knew. I said, there's something wrong. and I called it, and then I got up the next day and my leg was swollen, and then it all started to come out. But I remember the week before, actually, the Saturday before the show, I went in the gym on my own and tried to deadlift 250, and I couldn't do it. I still couldn't get down into position because the flexibility wasn't there in my leg yet. So,
I think that's the biggest risk when you're going for these numbers. Just anything that goes slightly wrong can cause injuries. You know, you can do everything right, but we're human at the end of the day, and, you know, flesh and bone, and you're trying to lift crazy numbers. There is always going to be a risk, but I think if you worry about that risk, you'll never achieve what you want to achieve.
Well, I was literally just kicking a football with my son the other week, and I felt like my groin hurt. You know, I thought, it's simple, very easy, too easy to do. You know, because the bigger and stronger you get for one thing, the worse you get for something else.
Yeah,
you know, like
you fit the purpose, and then anything else outside of that, it's an injury risk. So we've got some more questions. You kind of answered this earlier, but Johnny Young says, are you planning on returning to full comps next year?
Yeah, 100%. I'm really missing it, actually. It's getting harder. Every time I go to a show now and watch, it's getting really hard. I nearly actually did England's. I was this close. Yeah, it was like 4 weeks ago, and I saw the events. I thought, I'm in good shape. I could probably get away with training 3 or 4 weeks for this. But then obviously I weighed it up. I thought, if I hurt myself, what have I gained? It's just an itch I wanted to scratch, and I'll scratch it another time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you go and pull 505, you'll be guaranteed an invite anyway. So
yeah, well, there's always that.
Yeah, to Britain's, I mean. So Peter Rogers says, if you weren't doing the Vegas show and 505 attempt, would you have been interested in doing the Shaw Classic and going toe-to-toe with Thor on a raw deadlift?
100%, yeah, definitely. I mean, people throw the suit at me a lot at the minute, but they forget I was a very good raw puller.
Mate, you spent ages just training on an axle and pulling raw, didn't you?
I pulled two singles on 430 on an axle with no suit.
Yeah.
And it was unpeaked, unplanned. I just had to go at it one day to see what I could do. But yeah, people always seem to throw the suit and the figure eights at me when they forget. You know, I've done powerlifting, and I used to lift without a suit before. I'm not overly keen on tight suits anyway. If it's tight, I get claustrophobic, and I can't lift with it anyway.
Yeah, I remember when we came up and trained with you and Mark, and just the way you were lifting the axle was just crazy. Even we fucked up the loading, didn't we? I put too much weight on one side, blaming Mark for that. But
it's still one of the funniest moments I've ever experienced.
Hopefully, nothing like that with the 505 attempt.
No, you fuckers try to injure me. The funniest part actually was you all going like this. It was you. No, it was you. No, it was you.
We had it on camera. We've all done it in the gym, haven't we? Put the wrong weight on, but you still lifted it anyway, so it wasn't an issue.
Yeah, 20 kilos heavier on one side at 400. What the fuck?
Good core training, that's all.
Yeah.
Ben Ash says, does he feel there's a different mentality in preparing for one huge record lift as opposed to a full show? Does an hour of training focus a calmer mindset at all, or does it more mentally? I guess what he's saying is it easier to train for one event than a whole competition? I
think it's harder. Yeah. I think it's harder because you're focused on one thing, and if it's not going well, almost the entire pot's at risk. If I've got 5 or 6 events to train, and one's not going bad, the other 5 might be going well, and I'm still in a good mood. But if my deadlift weren't going well, or there's an issue, there's nothing else to focus on.
Yeah.
So I think actually mentally it's probably a lot harder.
It's very tough. Like when you're chasing something that no one's ever done before as well, I think that's mentally hard. You know, it takes a lot of self-confidence. You can't go in with any doubt whatsoever. It has to be, you know, full belief in what you're doing and building that confidence week on week as you're doing at the moment. How does your training volume change when you are singularly focused like this? Any steps you're taking to improve recovery between sessions?
Obviously, sleep's the most important. I'm not very good at that. So I've just been doing my hot and cold recovery as much as I can. I don't do it every day, but I tend now that when I do it, I do longer. Sometimes I'm in there 2 hours. Yeah, it's a long time. But yeah, I mean, I did obviously a bit of cardio as well for a while. That helps recovery. But I've just tried to tone everything down now because I want to obviously just focus on getting a bit bigger and stronger. The fitness doesn't have to be there. But no, the recovery side of it hasn't changed at all. You know, I sleep as best I can, do my hot and cold best I can. My diet's the best it can be. And I just guess got to try and ignore some of the stresses in life.
Yeah.
And then I'll recover better.
How much sleep are you getting most nights?
About 5 hours.
Okay. Yeah.
So what I've noticed is if I can nap a little bit more during the day, it makes a big difference to me. I've never been one for sleeping 7-8 hours at night. It's very rare. I mean, if I can go to bed and be in bed for 8 hours, I still only get 5 hours sleep. It's frustrating, but I'm used to it.
Yeah. I think sometimes people kind of overstress with that as well. Like, if you can only get 5 hours sleep, just make it a quality 5 hours and don't be upset.
That's why I got one of these. You know, it's obviously just read my sleep, see if it's getting worse, see if it's getting better, or if it's still the same.
Do you use anything to help you sleep, like any supplements, or do you have a CPAP?
I have a CPAP, yeah. And I might smoke some THC before bed.
It's becoming quite a popular, recovery method for a lot of people.
There's a lot of back science about it. I won't name dropping, but there was a couple of strongmen early last year that they gave me a lot of information on it, and the benefits from it. I couldn't overlook it. I had to try it.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's easy to kind of think things are wrong or something, but if it helps you improve, it's like people used to have a go at Mitch for going out and having a drink the night before a competition. He'd go out and have like 1 or 2 drinks. He's not getting hammered, and he would sleep really well. That is probably more beneficial than being up all night stressing about the competition.
Yeah, it's actually, I haven't seen him do that for a while, but yeah, when he first jumped on the scene, that was a big thing, wasn't it? Showing everyone that he's having a beer the night before.
He's probably getting too popular now. I guess too many people want to come and meet him. What else have we got? So these questions always annoy me, but I'm going to ask it anyway because Will Jager 1878 says, "What's the plan to stay healthy for the trip to the States? No bugs, illnesses, dehydration, or the like, please." I get so frustrated because you never want anything to go wrong, and you do try, but sometimes you'll pick up a bug on a plane as well. It's always difficult with like the air.
Yeah, and obviously, I guess I've created my own track record by doing 2 comps on the back when I was sick.
Yeah.
Even though it was the same sickness. But weirdly, touch wood, I've been sick once in 9 months.
I got to say, you look much fitter in yourself at the moment. I think,
yeah, Colin asked me if I had Botox. It's called just for men.
So have you not? You're not going down the Zadrunas route just yet?
Not yet, no. Never say never.
Yeah. What do you think the theoretical limit to a raw and suited deadlift is? Will you be chasing other strongman records or returning to full comps after the 505? You said you've been returning to full comps, but are there any other records that you've got your eyes set on? I know the log is potentially something.
I really haven't thought about it. I think if you look too far ahead, you get too distracted. I want to stay in my lane and focus on what's in front of me, and think about it afterwards.
Yeah, one focus at a time.
One focus at a time. Yeah, I always think it's like anything. If you're doing work and you're doing 10 jobs at once, it's not as effective as doing one at a time.
Yeah,
So I still treat it in the same manner with my training. I chase one thing at a time.
I think that's the best way to do things.
Yeah.
So, good. Lots of nice support here as well for you. Christopher 8485 says the guy is enormous. Would be happy for him to get the record after working so hard. Then someone commented on that saying Graham isn't as big as you think. He's actually quite small. Well, maybe he's not the tallest guy in the world, but you're weighing about 147 right now, and you look like an absolute tank when I saw you on the weekend. So Graham might not be the tallest athlete out there, but the man is huge when you meet him. He carries so much muscle.
I had I can't even remember who it was, but about 3 people when they cuddled me said, "Are you made of titanium?"
We were all just like touching you. You just kind of
you kept prodding me.
Yeah, I think Liz was as well. Bro says Hicksy mentioned recently that he's missing strongman a bit. What are his goals for when we've already kind of gone through that? So Angus wants to know, the question everyone wants to know is, after pulling 505, where's the Vegas after party? And is there going to be? We need to have a party.
I don't know, because I don't drink anymore. So we'll see. Maybe I'll turn over a new leaf for one day.
Yeah. But, you're not drinking at all?
No, I've quit drinking.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, people kind of find it weird, but I don't miss it.
Well, mine has a bit more of a story. Obviously, everything I went through, the breakup, the heartbreak, alcohol was a bad move. I was in a bad place drinking with it.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't be here now if I'd continued. So I knocked it on the head. That's why I started vaping more. And yeah, I don't drink. And I just think that's why I'm much healthier. I used to drink a lot as years gone by. I used to drink regular to help me sleep, or if I was stressed. I'd probably go through 1 or 2 bottles of whiskey a week on most weeks, which at the time didn't seem like a lot, but when I reflect, it is a lot. It's a lot. Especially because now I don't do it at all, so they add up. If you think we're halfway through the year, I'd have had 50 bottles of whiskey by now.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So we'll see. I mean,
are you finding having the goal of the 505 is helping you mentally, just to give you that focus and maybe distract other things?
It's definitely helped me. I mean, I think it's different to a comp as well, because comps always come about and come and go. So if I'm not right or something's wrong, I can always say, I'm not doing that one, I'll do the next one. This is like a set in stone date. It's a 1-day opportunity. They're not going to move it if I'm not feeling it. So it's definitely helped my focus.
Good. Gaz Martin 69 says, you're looking positive and focused and more prepared than last year. I think you got a legitimate chance, if not injured last year. Could you have pulled 505 if you weren't injured last year?
I still think that's a very grey area, and it's easy to lean on an injury. Now I sit here now and I think, no, I don't think I could. Purely based on the fact that 470 slowed down. I think I need to be pulling 470 with very minimal reduction in speed to pull over 500.
Have you got a target of what your heaviest you'll go to in the gym is? Or
460 for 2 singles has been I've jotted that down, because I think obviously Darren's asked me, and I don't know how long I've got to answer this question, but he wants to know what my jumps want to be, and he wants to obviously get that discussion going. Because he doesn't, I mean, he mentioned to me, would you want to pull 480? And I was like, God, no, absolutely not.
That's the hard thing, isn't it? How do you kind of put together the jumps to give yourself the best chance of pulling 505?
Yeah, I still think 465 is the uppermost in my head that I want to go, because that's a 40 kilo jump. We're used to 40 kilo jumps. I know it's a big weight, but I quite often do 50 kilo jumps in the gym. And I think if I'm going to be confident, I need to go out, pull 465, look like I could do a few reps with it, and then come out and do have a go at 505.
Yeah. Pulling that 460, it needs to move like an opener would in a powerlifting comp, doesn't it?
And obviously last year I was meant to pull 470 as my last heavy single. And obviously that training session went to pot because I hurt my hamstring. So it knocked my confidence. So what I did on the day, I went 430, 470 because I'd not pulled 470. Whereas Rauno and Ivan have pulled 470 before, where it was new territory for me. So the plan was to pull that and then have a go. I think if I was going in with more confidence and not injured, I'd have done the same thing they did. I'd have pulled £1,000 and then I'd have gone for it. But no, it's just the way it happened on the day.
Yeah, it's a really difficult one, the Deadlift World Championships. And I'm sort of in two minds about it because I want to see someone get the 505, but I also love seeing just a good, smart battle between athletes and winning, And sometimes I feel like the jumps aren't favorable to the competition because they're kind of set in stone. Maybe there should be some more jumps and people can jump in and out a bit more because everyone's got different goals. Not everyone going to the comp is going to be thinking, oh yeah, 505. Some people are just going to be looking at PBs or, getting points for the overall competition. It's
just the length of time, isn't it? I understand. It's the length of time. I think if we had more time.
Would you prefer to sell? I mean, it sounds like you might slightly have that opportunity, but would you kind of prefer to just pick your own numbers on the day based on how warm-ups feel, or are you happy with just the set numbers?
A bit of both. I mean, I did actually say this to Darren. I said, like for me, who's not participating in the full show, for example, why couldn't I have a different selection to the guys competing?
Yeah.
So if the guys competing want to pull 450, but I don't, I want to pull 465. Why can't I? I still think that's something that should be considered because what I essentially come in to ask for is going to affect everybody else.
Of course.
And like, if I've got the best chance of doing it, then I guess that's my right because that's what's happened in the past. But I don't want to be worrying about everyone else and how they're thinking and what I'm affecting. I'm worried about what I'm doing. But I do think, like I'd happily warm up, come out, do one lift, and then come out and have a go at it. Whatever that lift may be, and then I'm in control of my rest periods more.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a lot to consider. Actually, it's just a deadlift, but there's a lot going on in the background.
Yeah, I sometimes feel like maybe they would be better off just going through the whole round, allowing people 3 lifts. So you choose your first lift because you're one of the people just competing in the deadlift. You get to go towards the end. I know there's a bit more loading involved, but 3 lifts for each lifter. Don't think it would take any longer than just having a set number. It might even be quicker, to be honest. But
possible.
Yeah, I know they like doing the sort of everyone lifts the same weight, but maybe it would split points a bit more as well, I think. I know like my tactic sometimes would be to try and match someone stronger on a certain number, knowing that then they don't have a chance of the next big jump anyway. So like you can have a 20 kilo difference in someone's strength level, but tie with the
yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Whereas if you kind of go there and think, okay, say at my best, I go out and pull 430 or something, then someone who's a 440 lifter might tie with me. Whereas if they've got that opportunity to go 435, 440, they could beat you. It's and it separates people. But I understand both sides of the argument. It's just wanted to get your intake on it, really. And kind of on that, would you ever be interested in going for the RAW Powerlifting world record? Feel like you've got a great chance against Thor and Dan Bell. What are your goals for Strongman competitions? Do you want to compete in the likes of the Arnold's Rogue Invitational or World's Strongest Man final?
Yeah, I want to do all them shows. The goals are about saying.
Yeah.
The powerlifting one is it's one that keeps getting brought up. I never thought I would do powerlifting. And then I did the Andy Bolton deadlift comp years ago, just for a bit of fun with Andy. And I really enjoyed it. So then I was like, when what child was it now? When we had Jasmine, we had Jasmine, and I had to have a break from strongman. I said, sod it, I'll do some powerlifting. So I was only training 2 or 3 days a week, and obviously spoke to Seb, arranged to go to Australia and do that powerlifting meet there. And my luck followed me, because all my luggage got lost and I had no kit, and it all arrived at like 2 o'clock in the morning before the comp. So it wasn't the best day before prep, but I had a good show. I do think I could have done better, but I did the best I could of the day. And
tell people still what you totaled in your first ever powerlifting comp.
Yeah, 1,100 kilos. So
1,100 kilos, which at the time was 100 kilos more than the British record.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and it was only, I think, 35 kilos short of the world record.
Yeah, and this is why people want to see you doing powerlifting.
Yeah, yeah. I just, obviously with powerlifting, I say this a lot to people. It's not just about being able to do it. It's the team, the handling. Like, you need someone to do your knee wraps. You need someone to do the monolift. I need someone to spot me on a bench. Whereas, that's 3 sessions a week. I need somebody there.
Yeah.
And I don't have that guarantee. So if I do powerlifting, I'm going to have to change a lot about where times I train, or who I train with, or where I train, just to be able to do that.
Yeah. So next question, Von Slinkies says, what kind of mental prep goes into his 505 attempt? Eddie went to a dark place. Matt Wenning went hyper arrogant, etc. What shaped his mental prep and his desire to attempt the lift? You're a lot more laid back than some of those guys. I know that. So, I mean, I'll let you answer, but I know you're very different to those athletes.
I am very chilled. And I sometimes think being chilled is the best way to be. I don't ever like to get overhyped, but I don't know. I don't really know what the answer is. Obviously, I want to make my kids proud. This is something that, should I do it, it's going to be there forever. They can look back on that day forever. I kind of want to just make, in a kind of funny way, I want them to know that, when they're older, it doesn't matter how hard life's hit me, I've got up and I've done something special regardless. That's kind of what's my driver this year.
That's good. That's good. And it shows, I think it's important to understand that everyone's different. I was quite an aggressive lifter. I had to hype myself up. But you take Jack, who I train, he's a very calm lifter, much more like yourself. And there's no point in trying to hype him up, because it'll put him off. It's finding, like Evan's someone that likes to get fired up, and it helps him. But everyone's different, and you've got to find the approach that works for you. And
I mean, I don't mind a little gentle. I mean, I tend to start doing it to myself now. Anyway, I have a lifting strap. I give myself a little whack with it, and I'm like, right, time to go. And I wake up. But I remember when I went to Brian's with Terry and we were training, and Brian was like, "You literally sat there, look like you're going to go to sleep." He said, "What the fuck, bro?" And then I get up and then I lift something crazy and then I sit back down again like I'm ready to sleep again. It's probably a very clever, reserved way of being, but I don't do it on purpose.
You're not wasting any energy, I guess, which is
no, yeah. There was a comment on Thors YouTube saying that I'm a very, very strange mix of testosterone and estrogen. The estrogen because I'm just so quiet, chilled, and laid back, and then when it's time to go, I lift. So I thought it was very funny.
I'm sure inside you get yourself fired up, and
of course I do. Yeah,
it's just how people portray themselves on the outside. Sometimes people think you almost don't care, which is kind of complete opposite. It's
of course I care, 100%.
Everyone is different. Loads of support for you, mate. Just like, go Hicksy, we love you, man. You got the 505 in you. Good luck, Graham. Get that 505, brother. Crush it.
It's been nice. The fans are really starting to rally behind me. It's been really nice.
Yeah, I think lots of people are starting to believe it's capable. Lots of support for you, which is super cool. What I wanted to ask was, who do you see as your sort of main rivals? There's some big deadlifts coming, big deadlifters going. Who do you think are the guys that can really push you?
I I don't really think about it. Obviously I know Rauno is a good deadlifter. I know Matt's a good deadlifter. Ivan's a good deadlifter. But I haven't thought about anyone else pulling it but me. And if someone should, then shit. Basically. But I'll be the first person to walk over and shake their hand, give them a hug.
So say Rauno or even pulls 505. Would you want the opportunity to go 506?
Do you know, I probably would.
Yeah. I'm just thinking that I mean, you know, we're talking hypothetical here, but I think if people, you know, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, you know, we've not seen the 505 go.
I mean, if that happened to me, if I pull 505 and someone come out and pull 506, it'd be horrible. It would be horrible. You know.
Then if three of you pull 505, it's like,
I don't know. It wouldn't be, would it? It'd be
amazing. It'd be absolutely amazing. That's like one night to have that many people pull those kind of numbers would be crazy. But I just sometimes think when you're there fighting for that record and the prize money and something like that, you want it all. And if you're feeling good, it's.
Well, I think Matt's probably going off form. He's probably the one to watch.
Really?
Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah. Very strong.
He pulled very comfortable 460 this year.
Do you think the guys that are doing the Shaw Classic first, though, that could be a hindrance?
I would often say yes, but everyone's different. So I'd like to say yes because then it works in my favour. But you know, I don't know because is it 3 weeks between?
Something like that. And I mean, I guess the other thing is, do you reckon, I mean, you say Matt's a big threat. Do you think Matt can push Thor then on the deadlift at the strongest man on earth?
I think Matt's the one to push Thor, yeah. Definitely. I'm quite excited about it because I think without Matt there, no disrespect to everybody, but I think Thor could probably pull a comfortable win out of that event. And I don't think Matt's going to allow him to have an easy day. I think Matt's going to push him.
Interesting. Have you been kind of following some of the build up to the Shaw Classic?
Yeah, I've been watching, guys. Yeah. I just really want to see Thor push it. You know, like I want to see him win something. I just think it'd be amazing. Anyway, any comeback's amazing. But
how was he when you went and trained with him?
Just like he used to be. Exactly the same, except he's got a kid.
he's looking strong.
Yeah, nothing different about him. His routine's very similar. His mindset's very similar. But I think a lot of us felt a bit like an ill taste in our mouth when he retired because he was in his best shape, and he came and pulled 501 and then walked off basically. You know, and did boxing.
Yeah,
you know, it was almost. I don't know. It was a sad time for the sport because he was a complete monster and he just left. Yeah. So, you know, I think if he can come back and challenge that title, then it's a big deal.
Who do you reckon? I'm going to put you on the spot. Who do you reckon will be top three?
Tom, Mitch, and Thor.
Yeah, I agree. I think those three are going to be hard to. I think the consistency of all three. And I mean, if
neither of them have a weakness except Thor, obviously with his pec.
Yeah.
But if he can place well on that axle, then he's going to be a hard man to beat.
The thing with Thor as well, he has a number of exceptional events.
Yeah. I mean, even his grip's really good now.
Yeah, he got to that point where there was just no weakness, was there?
No. So
I think that'll be an exciting one. I do feel the guys that, you know, push, because it's training for a raw deadlift as well, and then you've got 3 weeks to train in a suit. It's sometimes difficult to lift two massive weights back to back. I think the guys.
I don't know what you're like, but like me, week to week, my suit fits differently.
Well, if your weight's fluctuating as well,
so you know, I have to be mindful of what I do if I'm bigger or what I do if I'm smaller.
Yeah,
and you don't get that with a couple of weeks training.
No,
you know, you need to be. I mean, I wore the neoprene shorts under my suit for a while, and obviously I've got a bit bigger. I've took them out, and it fits better. So
you changed your suit as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I went to a Chaos suit in, when was it? February. It was earlier this year.
I find that change has been good.
The only thing that it fit very much the same as the metal one, but if you remember my metal suit, it was held together by duct tape.
Yeah.
You know, it's not metal. When I tried ordering new suits, they took my money, didn't send me a suit, and then sent me a suit that was broken. So I raised like a PayPal complaint against them. Said I'd never buy a suit off them again. So when Chaos obviously produced the suit, I took the opportunity, went to try one on, and just got on with it. Cerberus have brought one out. I'll probably try that on soon as well. You know, I'll just always be prepared to try different stuff. But, you know, a suit's a suit for me. If it's tight around the hips, I'm happy. You know, my suit's never tight around the straps. When I'm stood up, they can always fall off. Yeah. So.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch the build-up. So you've got a target of 460 for 2 singles.
I think so, mate. Yeah. I mean, I was going to pull 420 for 5, and then I decided against it. Stopped at 3. But it was weird because that video actually is the one that made everyone's eyebrows turn. When I actually think the 405 for 3 sets of 3 was more impressive, because I did a set and then I had to go, chill, get up, do another set. You know, like I had to do it 3 times. I couldn't get overhyped for any of them.
Yeah.
And I've said to Josh that I train with quite often, I said, I don't think even I know where I am, because I've been doing repetitive sets so much. You don't know where your top triple is because you're doing multiple sets. So when I jumped 15 kilos, I was a bit nervous. I was like, I remember eating my breakfast in the morning, my stomach's going. It's like I was competing. But as soon as I pulled that first rep, I thought, Jesus Christ, I could do 6 or 7 here. And I got to 3, and every safety button in my head went off and said stop. So I stopped. You know,
it's good to have that experience, I think, and know. Just very quickly, run us through your weekly training program. I know it's simple. I don't think people will realize how simple sometimes.
I mean, it's simple. I have recently just changed it slightly. So what I do a heavy Tuesday. So 1 week will be deadlift. The week after will be squat. The Friday is the alternate to that. So it'll be a light deadlift or a light squat. And then Sunday I do my pressing session with my back assistants. I've just recently changed back squat heavy to front squat to stop me going too heavy. Because my squatting, I think my squatting is in a new realm of PBs really. So I spoke to Delroy. I said, I don't want to be squatting 350, 360, 370s for reps. I don't want to. So what can we do? And we said, well, that's front squat instead. And obviously it's 310 this week, but and it's probably going to go more, but it still keeps it 50 kilos lighter than what it could be if it was a back squat, which again affects recovery. I don't think it's the injury aspect I'm worried about. It's more the recovery. But that's as simple and basic as my training is.
Just trying to make sure the legs are really, really strong without overloading the back. So that power is good off the floor, focus on the deadlift and then some upper body.
Yeah, so I do a bit of box squatting to a box, which mimics deadlift movement, leg presses, leg extensions, hamstring curls, good mornings. It's very simple, very simple.
People always overcomplicate things. It's good to hear someone of your level just kind of breaking it down in that, making sure you're getting your sleep as quality as possible. I know your food's on point right now, and you're just training hard. Nothing crazy, no special exercises or anything like that nobody knows about.
Do you know, you write programs for people every week, and I know that when I send it, people expect 10 exercises a freaking session. It's not how it works. You know, sometimes I'll have, if I'm doing a big session, I might only do 3, and there'll be 3 big movements.
Yeah.
You know, like even my lunges, if I'm doing lunges on a session and it's heavy, I'll be doing them well over an hour. You know, because my lunges go up to like 200 kilos. So I warm up, you know, and I have my rest. And for someone else, it'll take them 10 minutes. It's taking me over an hour.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I can't be in the gym fucking 5-6 hours. Starve to death.
Have to have meals between training.
It's probably the hydration for me, actually. I'll just melt. You know, I'm terrible with hydration lately. It's just very hot there.
We've had some hot weather, but it'll be hot in Vegas as well.
I had 2 fans in my room last night and I was still hot.
Mate, it's always good to chat to you. It was good to see you on the weekend, and I can't wait to see the build up to Vegas. For those that want to, that can get over to Vegas and want to watch, there is a link in the description below. Make sure you head over to Graham's YouTube channel because he's documenting his training leading up to this. So go and support that and give him a subscribe. And Hicksy, I will see you soon, buddy. Thank you so much for coming on.
All right, thanks for having me, and all the best to the fans. And thank you everyone for your support.